everyone. Thank you for joining me. Happy Thursday. I'm working on a mega Netflix video for tomorrow to explain that situation. I'm taking tomorrow off. I'd wanted to do a video on this topic actually, but my schedule didn't allow it. But I thought I'd do a live stream. Not only do I owe you a live stream, but I think people have a lot of questions about this because there's so many moving pieces. I think a lot of assumptions are being made. So I'm going to go through my talking points here, and I'm going to occasionally go to you guys to see if you have any questions or if you need any clarification, okay? I'm going to talk about everything that everybody's been talking about. I think I'm disappointed in the lack of compassion in the coverage on this. And then also, to be fair, a lot of people don't know what's going on. I'm in a unique position in that I know a lot of what's going on, but I have to be careful because, you know, it's not my story to share, especially when you're dealing with such personal issues. Let me say hello to some new members here. Blad Beat, welcome. Galliette Productions. Let's see here. Joe Newark, Stephen Vasquez, welcome everybody. If you join during the live stream, usually I'll say hi to you. I'll try to do it this time as well, but it might be a little tough because we're talking about very sensitive subject matter. All right? So also, yes, by the way, I'm going to try to use the correct pronouns, they and them, for Ezra Miller. So please forgive me if I slip up, but I'm going to try very hard to respect their wishes. All right, so right now, so Ezra Miller has been arrested twice. The second arrest was late in the day, I believe, on Monday. The news broke on Tuesday, right on the day that Ezra Miller was supposed to go to court for the first arrest. So I'm surprised that they were still able to make a plea deal, because you would think that the double arrest back to back would have had the judge say, I think you should do a psychiatric hold. But unfortunately, that didn't come about. I think that hopefully nothing really bad happens, but if it does, I think that at the only silver lining will be that maybe it'll open up a discussion about the treatment of mental illness and people not taking it seriously enough. Although I have to say, a number of you reached out to me over the past few days who work in law enforcement or in outreach in cases like this, and I got a lot of really good information, which I'm going to try to share some of it in this video. So basically, Ezra Miller is having, he was arrested, so they were arrested twice in Hawaii, and there was also a restraining order taken out against them, but that was dropped. Lloyd Miller is not being convicted in his hometown state because this is happening where these things are being committed. You know, it's a local issue. So the second thing that they did was, yes, as you guys have pointed out, Ezra Miller was asked to leave a private event at a private home, lost their temper, and threw a chair at a woman, hitting her, striking her in the head, and she did require, I believe, some stitches. That's very serious, and I want to make it clear right out of the gate that I am just, while I'm trying to show a lot of compassion to Ezra Miller, I do believe very strongly that there needs to be consequences for their actions. I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to point out the context and what kind of consequences those are. I don't think you should throw someone like this in jail. I think, again, they need to be in a psychiatric hold and in an institution that helps people like this. I think you just can't lump them in with Gen Pop. I certainly don't think that's going to help, and I think that is concerning Ezra Miller and maybe complicating getting the help. So you see those two mugshots, and I see, as Erwin just pointed out, that's quite a journey. The first one, and then the second one, I think things obviously becoming a lot more serious. So basically, again, just to reiterate what I've told you before and what I can share with you, in early February, Ezra Miller suffered a personal tragedy. That's all I feel comfortable saying. But it's pretty bad. And it's not good. And I feel very bad for them that this happened. And they left. They basically went away. And they started out going out with friends, and they were traveling with friends. So there was some feeling that maybe it wasn't, at least someone was looking after them, looking after Ezra Miller. But now it seems like they're alone. Like Ezra Miller is just alone in Hawaii, and nobody seems to be, they seem to have lost all of the friends that were traveling with them. So he's just by himself. And I think the problem is that they're wandering around Hawaii having a mental breakdown. Nobody knows this. And I think that what's happening is you have civilians running into Ezra Miller and saying, oh, wow, how great, I get to hang out with Ezra Miller, not realizing that they're having a mental breakdown. And so I think that the quietness about this and this not being addressed is bad. I mean, you see mental illness with people in the homeless community, tragically, but in this case, it's really the same thing, but the person is a huge movie star. I don't think anything has happened like this with someone who's currently in the public eye. Sometimes you'll see this tragically happen to people later on in their careers, but this is happening to Ezra Miller arguably at the height of his career. Hey, Anthony McNeil. As you know, you might be like, well, where's their manager? Where's their agent? I see you guys talking about that. Again, this is tough to discuss. I can say that their family and their team did try to help. I think from what I heard, that only made things, when someone is having mental illness, they become very paranoid. And so when they tried to have an intervention, it was not good. It was just a series of difficult events. You know, from what I really am being very careful about what I can share, but Ezra Miller has cut off basically communication with everyone. So I don't know why no one's flying to, I don't know why no one's flying to Hawaii now that they know where he is and being like, let's go get him, let's go get them. I would be curious to know what the situation is on that, because I do know that he has family members who are very concerned about him. So that's tough. Now, some of you who've reached out to me in law enforcement and in outreach have said that it's very hard to place an adult under psychiatric hold, especially with the way, with the burden on the systems, they're overtaxed. And then also you have a famous wealthy person. Kim just pointed out, psych holds are really hard to get, especially with a non-cooperative person who is, maybe lucid at points, and again is famous. Who wants to, especially I think with all the attention paid to, Britney Spears and Amanda Bynes, I think maybe everybody's now nervous to do that to somebody. But I think that Ezra Miller could really benefit from that right now. So it's a very bad situation, and I wish that judge, when there was another arrest, had not agreed to the plea deal, and had said instead to Ezra Miller that maybe not a psychiatric hold, but request a psychiatric evaluation. And also, what about the culpability of Ezra Miller's lawyer? They must know that their client is suffering, and they're putting them back out on the street. I think that with the way this is escalating, nobody wants to see this go to a really bad position for others or for Ezra Miller himself. Now, I've seen some people point out that, he seems to be striking out against women, which is really unfortunate and I think terrible. And again, there should be ramifications for these actions, but I don't know if it's intentional. I don't think that's necessarily a fair thing to put on Ezra Miller. And also the restraining order was against a man and a woman. So I think it could be just a bad coincidence. Of course, inexcusable behavior, inexcusable, but very, very, this is a very complex situation. I think these mugshots tell a very interesting story and sad story right there with the two of them. Also, I have a friend who's a member of the LGBT community, and my friend was upset with the picture they've been using with Ezra Miller in the press. You might have seen that picture used a lot, extensively, the one that I have there. And I think Ezra Miller looks great there, by the way. I think they look fabulous. But my friend, again, a member of the LGBT community, was frustrated that it seemed that the press was trying to make it salacious and that equating gender fluidity with mental illness. And that's really irresponsible. And it has nothing to do with that. I even saw some people in response to some of my tweets about compassion saying that, maybe this is stemming from that. And I think that's just horrific. Absolutely horrific. And I think that that would be a really unfortunate connection. And so I wanted to share that because when my friend pointed that out to me, I thought that was really awful. All right, now, some people, I've also gotten some responses with some people saying, well, hey, why are people compassionate towards Ezra Miller, but not with Will Smith? Now, I was understanding of Will Smith, as you know. I think there have to be consequences for the actions, but I acknowledged a lot of the complexities on Will Smith's side too. But I think it's a different situation. Will Smith lost his temper very publicly and probably at the worst time possible. But I would equate Ezra Miller's situation more in line with Johnny Depp's, where Johnny Depp was suffering from substance abuse. So that's the reason behind his actions. With Ezra Miller is dealing with mental illness, and I think that's a big aspect to the situation here. I'm not sure if substance abuse is an issue here or not, but I know that he's dealing with mental illness. I know that his family and management tried to help him before he decided to go off on his own and cut off ties. And I know there is a very legitimate concern about self-harm. Ezra Miller is not on a bender. Ezra Miller isn't partying. Ezra Miller, again, is in the midst of a full-blown breakdown. He's been in a breakdown since early February. No one's helping him. Everyone's just watching as he spirals out of control in the state of Hawaii. And I really hope this doesn't have a sad ending. So it's just heartbreaking. As you said, Brent, it's just heartbreaking to watch this. And I wish that somebody would do something. I guess I'm doing the best I can by telling this story. I really do wish that Warner Brothers would have his mother do an interview with the press. I wish that she had done an interview earlier with the press to get in front of this, because I think Warner Brothers was just waiting for this to happen because they knew there was a problem. But I think that what needs to happen is that people shouldn't see Ezra Miller and say, okay, cool, let's hang out with the celebrity. They should be like, hey, there he is. Let's help him. He really needs help. They really need help. That's what everybody should think when they see Ezra Miller. Gritter plays. I can't go into the specifics of what happened to Ezra in early February, because it's a personal issue. I can just say that it was a loss. It was a personal tragedy. That's all that I really feel that I can say about it. Like the worst thing you can imagine happening. It's very sad. So that's the best that I can give you. But I feel that if this was made public, I feel that this would actually help Ezra Miller's cause substantially. So I don't know. Hey, Juan. So I don't understand the thought process behind the way this is being handled. It reminds me a little bit of how everyone reacted to Chadwick Boseman's weight loss, not understanding the situation, and then how that was revealed later. You would think that the internet would have learned not to make snap judgments after that horrible thing that happened. But here we are again. So that's just very sad. All right, so let's talk about, Paul says, but wait, Grace, didn't Ezra choke a girl last year? Ezra Miller has been having mental illness issues for a long time. They have gotten much worse over the past year or so. Like much, much better. Much, much worse. So that's the situation. Now let's talk about The Flash, because I've seen a lot of people call for him to be taken off of The Flash. Well, here's why that is a complicated situation. So first off, they finished filming for The Flash. They got everything that they need. They can complete the movie and are doing so currently in post-production. They don't need Ezra Miller to finish The Flash. They just need them to promote it, which is, I guess I told you, I discovered the reason that film was pushed so far. They felt they needed like over a year to get on top of this, have it play out, and hopefully get over it. So that's why The Flash was pushed so far. So they're finishing the film, but and it's very expensive to have to replace somebody. Also, I heard that they've already tested this film, and it's tested extremely well. I heard it had an amazing early test score for movies. Like for the kind of scores that a movie can get at this phase is really strong. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's very strong. Also, I think when we all saw the Snyder Cut, we were like, wow, Ezra Miller's great in this role. They were wonderful. I mean, as bad as they were in Justice League, Ezra Miller was phenomenal in the Snyder Cut. He had so much charisma and personality and character. He was funny, and he handled the drama really well. I mean, they did a great job. So I would like to see them play this role. I mean, look how cool they look in that picture from The Flash. They look amazing. So, I mean, it's not like he and that's the thing. If people got in front of this, Ezra Miller wouldn't get to a point where maybe he couldn't come back. Right? Like they wouldn't get to a point where they did something so bad that maybe we couldn't look past it no matter how bad the situation was or how sympathetic it was. So that's another reason to stop this in its tracks so that they don't pass the point of no return. So also, I heard everyone was so happy about The Flash that there were plans for a trilogy. They were very excited at Warner Brothers and the whole creative team. They were like, let's make 2 more of these babies. I strongly believe that the point of the Batfleck tease at the end of the Flash movie now was to set up a second film. And I mean, who wouldn't want to see a second film of the Flash and Batfleck? I mean, that would be fantastic. But now, I mean, they might even cut that end credits scene, I would think, because I don't think they're going to be able to make any more. I think it'll just be a miracle if they can release this movie, quite frankly. They didn't need Ezra Miller to promote Fantastic Beasts since they aren't a lead character, but they do need them to promote The Flash. You can't promote a movie without its star. Now, as I tweeted, The Flash actually deals with mental health, which I think is wonderful. I think that's, again, a really important subject matter that we're not doing nearly enough about. Hey, Cornelius. And, there are multiple Barrys, and I wouldn't say any of the Barrys are evil. I would say some of the Barrys are having a rough time. So some good could really come out of a Flash movie if Ezra Miller could get back on track. I mean, look at how the Snyder Cut helped raise awareness about preventing suicide. That was I think the most beautiful thing about that release, that was what they did. And so if they could do that with The Flash, that would be amazing. So I think The Flash will still be released. It needs to be released. They need to introduce Michael Keaton and Sasha Calle as Supergirl. They need to get them both on the board. Crucial to other projects that Warner Brothers is working on. But I don't believe Ezra Miller will return after this movie. And the reason is not just because of the difficult factor from a production standpoint and publicity standpoint, and also because Ezra Miller really needs to get well, but also because they would be impossible to insure. Nobody can act if they're not insurable, because every movie takes out insurance. Because that means if something happens, including to talent has to undergo a physical to be cast in a movie, the insurance company will cover that loss. But no one's going to insure somebody who has this level of mental illness and who will disappear off the map. So they can't really go forward with the Flash. But there could be a different version maybe. But I think you're going to be surprised at how good the Flash film probably actually is. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to say about this. So I've got about 7 minutes until I have to log off. So you can ask me anything that you would like about the situation. So Brett says, Grace, do you think the Flash is in trouble now that Spider-Verse is coming out the same month? Not necessarily. I feel like I think The Flash could move, quite frankly. I think The Flash is going to be a big movie, but also I think Spider-Verse is going to be a big movie. I think we have to be okay with movies opening this close to each other, especially during the summer, because there's just that many big projects coming out. Mika says, Robert Downey Jr. saved his life and career. Why can't Ezra? I think that's an excellent point. I think, Mika, also, though, Robert Downey Jr. had the benefit of not having his situation. I don't think Robert Downey Jr., by the way, was ever as bad as Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is legitimately having a mental breakdown. This isn't substance abuse. This isn't anything like that. He's had a mental breakdown. But Robert Downey Jr. didn't have the internet when that happened. And I think that makes these days a huge difference. And that's why I don't understand why publicists aren't on top of spinning this so that it gets out correctly. Cornelia says, do you think they will have to promote the movie without Ezra? They're really far away, and hopefully they get better by then. I can see a situation where maybe, yeah. I mean, I think if you have Michael Keaton and Sasha Calle and Michael Shannon, Zod for interviews, and Ben Affleck probably would pitch in too, I think you'd have enough for the movie. And it would take on hopefully, a situation like Heath Ledger, but if Heath Ledger was still alive, but just, incapacitated. That's just really tough. I have to say, considering how bad Ezra Miller's situation is, I don't know if Timothy Chalamet Lewis would want to even take over for them. Because, why would you do that to them? Why would you do that to Ezra Miller? Trisha says, can't Warner Brothers sue Ezra if The Flash tanks? Honestly, Trisha, they'd be going after someone who is mentally ill. And also, I don't think that Ezra Miller has anything for them to go after. Vic, I'm so sorry to hear that. Vic says, we had to put our dog down yesterday due to complications from a hit and run. My little sister and I could really use some cheering up from you in this community. Oh, Vic, I'm so sorry that happened, but I'm sure that dog lived a wonderful life with you and your little sister. And I'm sure you took pets are hard. Pets are hard. I had some goldfish. I lost those goldfish, and I can't imagine what it's like to lose a dog, because I was super sad losing a goldfish. So Vic, I'm very sorry, but I'm so happy. I'm sure that your dog was very lucky. Dark Knight 151 says, when's the review embargo for Ozark Season 4 Part 2 release? That is on Monday at 11 a.m. Ivan, I'm going to wait on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I think I'm going to wait until they have a verdict, because that thing's going all over the place. It's been Johnny Depp had a bad day from what I heard. And I didn't get a chance to look into it really, really well. But I heard that it did not go well for him today, and his coaching fell apart apparently. Denzel, I didn't get a chance to review The Flight Attendant, but I did watch the first 6 episodes. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought they surprisingly came up with another kooky thing for her to deal with. You wouldn't have thought they'd be able to, but they did. But I thought it was still fun. Brody Rule says, could a sit-down interview save the day for Ezra Miller? Yeah, I think if Ezra Miller sat down and his mother sat down, or their mother sat down, I think that would make a difference. I think it would make a huge difference. And again, it has to be in the context of helping with mental health, because this is a very big problem in the world. I think the lack of sympathy for mental health is sad. Gritter Plays, I did hear that Florida, now both the Senate and the House, have passed the bill to remove Disney's special privileges in Florida. However, it was revealed that not only does it have to be voted on by both by the entire legislature and signed into effect by the governor, who of course will sign it because he introduced it, but I heard though that the local citizens need to approve it because they would be assuming the tax responsibilities for the land. And I don't think that ain't ever going to happen. So I think it's all posturing for a run for presidency. Kelly, I agree. Ezra Miller should not be walking the streets of Hawaii. And I wish that somebody would do something. And if people can't do something about it, I mean, I can understand that a psychiatric hold is hard. What about a psychiatric evaluation? I mean, I think just 5 minutes on the phone with people who know them would really solve that. Let's see. Somebody had an interesting question that I think somewhat coincides with this. Where did it go? It was about Janelle Monáe, who I love. I love Janelle Monáe so much. Somebody asked me what I thought about Janelle Monáe. They didn't come out today, but I did think that Janelle Monáe said that she was gender fluid as well. Non-binary. Josh Loves Movies did it. Hey, Charlie the Vegan. Josh Loves Movies pointed out that Janelle Monáe came out as non-binary today. You know, it's hard to say they, them, You know, it's going to take some getting used to, but I think it's important. I really respect it. And I know people have very complex feelings about gender. But at the end of the day, I feel like strict gender rules have caused more problems than they have benefit. And I'm a big favor of breaking the mold. I want people to be able to do anything and pursue anything that they would like. That's very, very important to me. And I also think that as marriage kind of fades away and people can have a family with anyone they want, I think that the strict gender rules become less necessary for society. And so I think that that's what's happening. I think that you don't need it as much anymore, and everybody just becomes a person, and you find happiness with the person that you want to. So I think that that's kind of what's happening. And I don't think society's going to fall apart. I think everything's going to be just fine. Everybody thought everything was going to fall apart in the 70s with the women's movement and civil rights, and it turned out great. So I think it'll be fine. I think as long as everybody's responsible. There's always the pendulum effect. Remember that. But I think it's great, and I'm really in favor of everybody being able to do what they want as long as no one's getting hurt. I mean, the current negative things said about women are shocking to me. You know, a push to get women back in the kitchen and to be subservient to men. That's coming back, which is like amazing to me. I'm like, isn't it 2022? So I'm not going to support strict gender stuff like that because I don't like that. Grace Marie, I think The View, somebody else had it on. The View was showing tape of like some sports people, like really talking about, you know, women shouldn't, you know, it was bad. I was very upset about it. Jico, I know some people have asked me about the Spider-Man delays, you know, the Spider-Verse and stuff like that. I think it's just jockeying for better release dates. And you know, animation also takes a long time. I don't think it's anything negative that you have to be worried about. As Max is pointing out, there's a lot of Wanda misogyny. I tried to make a funny joke. Well, I retweeted someone's funny joke today about how Wanda was really Scarlet Witch in the Multiverse of Madness, just for fun. I mean, it is a co-movie between the two of them, quite frankly. And some people got really upset about, you know, being like, don't disrespect Doctor Strange like that. And it's like, come on. You know? The misogyny against Wanda is like shocking. And I think it could affect the box office a little bit. Oh, it's 6:02. All right, I'll do two more questions. Elizabeth Olsen looks gorgeous every day, Trisha. I love Elizabeth Olsen. But she is a wonderful actress. I did not appreciate the comment someone put out that says people only like her because she's attractive. There are a lot of attractive women in the world, and they ain't Elizabeth Olsen. I agree, Britt. That's right, David Deere. AMC bought Bowtie Cinema. That's right, you like to see Nicole Kidman. I don't know what's happening, Vanderson Valley. It's not good. Hey, Eric, thanks for joining. How are you doing? I'm glad you joined us today. I'm about to sign off, unfortunately, but I'm glad I got to say hi to you. Denzel, I did watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills trailer, and I do love Garcelle. I'm a big Team Garcelle fan. Hey, Sammy. Keith, Zod has a significant role in the Flash movie. It's a cool movie. I mean, I think like the entire plot leaked, but don't look for it because it's a good movie. You don't want to have it ruined for you. Oh, Denny, I'm glad you enjoyed today's video. I always love talking with all of you. You're just so great. Kyle Richards! Tarlos, what the heck? Kyle Richards is good television, but I go back and forth on her. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful day. And that Netflix video will go up tomorrow. Probably around, I have to wait. There's only 3 notifications every 24 hours. So I have to post it after my Buzz Lightyear thing went up. So probably at around like noon tomorrow, noon or 1 o'clock. All right, everybody. I love you. See ya. Bye.